All right, good evening and happy Friday to you all, and welcome back to ISRL Esports action. We are back here for the first round of the first tier here in Season 3 of ISRL Esports, and this is going to be for round 1 of Formula Fridays. Runs on every Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern, and a lot of our regular drivers and a lot of the other tiers do decide to race on this one. It's a very fun little group of drivers here. We have definitely a lot of great drivers returning for another season from Season 2 as well as Season 1. And we are in Austria for what looks to be a very, very wet qualifying right now. I think we have a one-shot qualifying as it looks to be at the moment. And it looks like ISRL Carter is currently fighting with a Stunik for the lead of this qualifying session as they're coming up to corner 2 on the Austrian track here. Very hard braking and a hard right turn, and Carter gets it a little bit slow. They're losing out on positions. We can see how Sweet Crown, Jer, Josh, and Gernman have all jumped to the top right now. We'll keep on watching on board with Carter as he now goes through corner 3. Very tough little corner here. You got to get a really good exit at the end of it, and now running into turn 4, the Roush corner, sorry. And he's gotten it through there, but very, very wobbly. This weather is definitely proving to be very tricky as we see Carter struggling there through turn 5 as well. Only a couple more corners to go on this very, very short track here in Austria as he now goes through the Rindt corner and just the Red Bull Mobile corner to go here, as now you gotta open up the DRS normally in dry conditions, run up to the line. It looks like ISRL is going to be 8th, but Jer is on top of the 111.7, Sweet Crown 111.854, Infamous Pillars in 3rd position 112.4. Very, very close between the first 2 drivers on track, and then very closely followed by 3, 4, 5, and 6, all being very close to each other as well. Luck 14 Nog has been disqualified. ISRL Stunik and Lewis has been disqualified as well. Definitely not a surprise in these tricky wet conditions. I was expecting to have a short qualifying instead of a one-shot, so I really wasn't ready for that. But again, running through the grid, we've got Jer on pole, Sweet Crown in 2nd, Infamous Pillars in 3rd, Gernman in 4th, Knight in 5th position, Sophian in 6th, Mushroom in 7th, Carter in 8th, Feral Fury in 9th, LAS Chris in 10th, Isaac Cush in 11th, Joseph Josie making his return and qualifying in 12th, Jordan JT in 13th place, Lewis Colo in 14th, Luck 14 got disqualified, Killing for Cash, Josh, Astunik, and Lewis are all going to be rounding up the grid for today's race. So yeah, that qualifying really came up on me really quick. I did not even have a chance to introduce myself. For those of you who did not tune in last season or didn't listen to me before, this is BLIN-MACHINE, and I am extremely happy to be back in the commentator booth. For tonight, I'm here by myself, unfortunately, no co-commentator, so I might once in a while just go for a silent minute just to catch a breath, get a drink, and get my thoughts back in together, and also just to give you guys a good experience of listening to the cars on track. I think F1 2020, this new game, has really stepped it up with the visual and the overall the whole game with the audio, and the way that every single car sounds is completely different and is very, very nice to listen to. So only about 20 seconds to go here until we're gonna line up on the grid and go for a formation lap for round 1 here in Austria for season 3 of ISRL Esports, and we're kicking things off here with Formula Fridays today. Alright, and it looks like I lost sound as we now get going here in Austria, and Jer gets a really good start. Sweet Crown is chasing him down very, very close. So we've got people going 3 wide at the back there. We've got a little bit of touching, a little bit of contact. Let's see here, ISRL Carter is battling with Sophian up the hill into turn 2. We've got another car there on the outside as well. They're going 3 wide, almost 4 wide now. We're getting a predicted pit strategy here. If you're going on the softs, you're going to be stopping around lap lap 10 or 17, and then if you're going on the mediums, you're going to be stopping a little bit later. So let me just pull up what tires everybody's starting on here. I didn't even have a chance to do that because of the one-shot qualifying, as we've now got lots of people trying to overtake here. Feral Fury moving up to 8th place, overtaking LAS Chris and Carter. Carter is now trying to fight back, and now Feral Fury and Sophian are battling at the end of the first lap here, as we've got Jer still in the lead, Sweet Crown in second, Infamous Pillars in third, ISRL Knight is chasing him down very closely in 4th place, and ISRL Gurnman and Mushroom are all in 5th and 6th place as we're watching on board with Carter. We've got a yellow flag at the 3rd corner. It looks like Luck 14 Nog has spun out. Let's take a look. Yeah, he's definitely spun out at the last corner. I'm not sure if there was contact there, but that is not going to be good for him, as we're watching as Sweet Crown is running up the hill into turn 2 here, chasing down Jer, who's up in the lead right now. It's going to be very, very close between those two. We definitely know these two have a lot of pace. Jer has definitely proven that last season in Tier 1, and Sweet Crown was our champion last season, so we know that he's going to be putting on quite a bit of a fight here. Now let's take a look at the rest of the grid here. ISRL Knight is very close to Infamous Pillars, and he's getting very closely chased down by Gurnman as well right now, as we're watching them on the track. This track is very, very quick and very short, so we're actually coming up to the end of lap 2 already. We're going to have DRS here enabled very, very shortly, as Sweet Crown is really closing in on Jer now. He's only 4/10 behind them, so he's going to have DRS as they come out of turn 2. He's not going to get it on the start-finish straight, but he is going to get it right at the exit of turn 2, up the hill, or turn 1, sorry, and up the hill into turn 2 here as they come up there right now. And there we go. Sweet Crown's got the DRS. He's not using his overtake at the moment. We can see his telemetry. He's just using the DRS, possibly a little bit of rich mixture. We can't really know. He does set a first purple sector on this track, as we're going to have another DRS zone right now, as he's actually not closing in by as much as I would expect. Jer is managing to keep that 4/10 gap in front of Sweet Crown, so very good job, but having a little bit of trouble here into turn 3, and that allows Sweet Crown to catch up a little bit. We're going to come back to these guys battling in a minute, as Feral Fury and ISRL Carter, they've been battling since the very first corner, and they're still battling on track right now, but Feral Fury manages to hold on to that 7th position once again, and defending off from ISRL Carter, who's definitely on an attack here. ISRL Keller very, very close to Feral Fury now as they're coming up to the end, but he's definitely been using some of his overtake. As you can see, he's only got about 30% of his ERS left, and now we're going to be coming out to the end of the last corner. They're coming out. Feral Fury gets a really bad run through there, and there goes ISRL Carter into 7th place now. Behind them, we've got some more battling. LAS Chris is defending from ISRL Lewis, and those two are very close together. Lewis is going to have the DRS. Chris has DRS on Feral Fury in front of him as well, who's actually lost out of position. Back to ISRL Carter again. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 3. It looks like Josh has had an issue. So Josh has gotten back going again, as Lewis goes down the inside in turn 3, down the inside on Feral Fury, and he manages to take that position away from him. Up into 8th position now goes ISRL Lewis. He's got some people to chase down in front of him. Up at the front, Sweet Crown is still got that 4/10 gap in front of him to Jer, so he's gonna really have to close that up. Still not using any of his overtake. There we go. Now he's using the overtake, but only for a second there. Really just trying to get a tiny little boost. It's really hard to recover ERS on this game, so I definitely understand where he's coming from. And now another DRS open zone running up the hill into turn 2. Jer is still managing to keep that gap. I'm really surprised by that. I'm not really sure how he's managing to stay in front, but so far so good for Jer. We still got 13 laps to go in this race, so definitely lots of opportunities for Sweet Crown to try and get ahead. He's really getting close now. He's on the back wing of Jer as they're coming through turn 3 now, and running downhill into Roush Corner. This is already turning out to be a very, very nice battle here at the front, and at the back we've got Gurnman and Knight also battling very, very closely. Knight has just lost out on the position. He had 4th position there briefly and then lost it back to Gurnman. Let's go on board with him and just watch him for a minute. Astuna gets a 3-second time penalty. I've already seen quite a few people with the penalties. I gotta mention, I mean, strict corner cutting rules are very, very strict on F1 2020. Extremely strict. I mean, nowhere near what real life is, especially around Austria. As we've seen in real life, you can go pretty much the whole car outside of the white line here, but on the game, it's just exactly the same as it was last season. If you take your car about halfway outside of the white line, that's going to be the end of that, as Gernman does a beautiful move there to overtake Infamous Pillars and move himself up into the podium positions. Into third goes Gernman, and Infamous Pillars is gonna now be under pressure as well from Knight, who's seemed to gotten his rhythm now, and he's really starting to put in some good times here. Jer with another 3-second time penalty. That's definitely going to be a factor here today, it looks like, at this moment. So penalties might decide quite a bit at the end of this race. We're going to just have to wait and see. And I see some comments coming in about that from Eisen as well. Those 3-second time penalties are going to be an issue this year, I feel, and he is absolutely correct. So far, I've seen in my experience that it's definitely been an issue, and that's not even starting to talk about the other things that you have to get used to on this brand new game. New handling model, it's completely different from F1 2019, as we're watching Sweet Crown just keeps on trying, keeps on pushing that envelope to try and close up on Jer, but just not enough on that occasion. But yeah, back to this new game. Braking is completely different. Overtaking and ERS management obviously is completely different. No more switching modes. You just got an overtake button to use whenever you want to, but be very smart with it, because you can use it for about 4 seconds and lose about 20% of it very, very quickly. So you really have to try and save up as much of that ERS as you can see on board with Sweet Crown. We've been watching this lap after lap. He doesn't really use his ERS. He uses it for a second or two, and then he lets off of it because it wastes very quickly and it's extremely hard to recover back. Other than that, things that are completely different on this game, I really gotta say weather handling is absolutely different. As we watch Sweet Crown thinking about it, but not on that occasion again. Jer getting a little bit twitchy on the exit of turn 1, and now Sweet Crown is going to try again with the TRS, not using overtake again. Downhill into turn 3, let's see if that's going to be enough. No, it's just, man, this is going to be a very frustrating battle to watch. Let's get back over into the midfield here. We've got ISRL, Knight, Infamous Pillars, and Gernman fighting for that last podium position for third. And he's got a pretty, Knight's got a pretty good gap behind him to Lewis, about almost a couple of seconds. So definitely, you know, he's really pushing for getting up into the field. Now, also talking about tires, tire management on this game is completely different. Tire temperatures are absolutely brutal, so you really have to manage those. There we go, another 3-second time penalty for Lewis, and there was also another one there for someone else, for LAS Chris. There we go. So, wow, penalties are really coming into effect here. Tires are really going to come into effect, as I said, on this new game as well. You got to really learn how to manage everything all together, and I feel like, you know, the drivers are going to get better and better throughout the season as they really learn this new game and get used to it. But yeah, watching ISRL Knight right now, and talking about tires, you know, when are these guys going to pit? They've done 8 laps so far on these soft tires, and Infamous Pillars has started on the medium tire, and she's still going on those, as far as I know. Although, yeah, the graphics in this game have been a little bit confusing sometimes. They show somebody has only had 0 laps on a particular tire compound, and that is not correct. We can only see here that Sophia, Nastunik, and Josh are the only 3 that have stopped so far. So everybody else is going to have to make some sort of a pit stop here very, very soon. Let's take a look at position changes. It looks like at the top, people have pretty much stayed the same. Gurman and Infamous have changed their sort of positions. And as I was talking about tires there we go. The pit window is now open for those who are on the soft tire to switch over to the medium and go until the end. But yeah, other than that, position changes. ISRL Lewis, look at that, 13 positions that he's gained from the start up until now. We're now on lap 10 already of only 18 laps in this very short race, very short track, but it's definitely turned out to be a very exciting race so far. And now it looks like Knight is going to be under pressure from Lewis. I was just talking about him a couple of laps ago. Lewis was 2 seconds behind, and now he's catching up to Knight very, very quickly, which only tells me that these soft tires, not everybody's having the same sort of experience on them right now. They're not working exactly the same for everyone. I think Lewis is handling his older tires and worn out soft tires a little bit better, but he gets a 3-second time penalty as we see him go very wide. But now it looks like Knight might be thinking about going to the pits on this one, as he's really hugging the inside of the last corner here, and he does go into the pits now. And looks like Gernman got a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pits. That is going to be unfortunate for him. He's really going to lose out on a bunch of time for that. And also want to say a huge thank you to everybody who's tuning in right now, as we see a lot of our drivers going into the pits. Gernman, Knight, Carter, Isaac Kush, Fury, Mushroom. Lots of people are in the pits right now, and Knight has come back in 6th place, so he really only lost out on one position there, or a couple of positions throughout that whole battle. So a very good timing for his pit stop, as now Sweet Crown is only at 10th behind Jer. When is this battle gonna take the next step, or when are they gonna pit? I mean, at some point, Jer is gonna have to realize that he's losing some time here trying to defend so much from Sweet Crown, and I think he's given the signal there for no, he's just done a fake. But there we go, we've seen Sweet Crown is gonna take that fake, and he is gonna go into the pits. Jer is gonna continue on for another one, and now this is, I think, is gonna be absolutely pivotal for Sweet Crown. The undercut might work out for him here. We're gonna have to wait and see. And how much traffic is he gonna rejoin, as ISRL Lewis behind them goes into the pits as well? Let's see if he's gonna hit any sort of traffic as he's gonna rejoin on track here. Mushroom gets another 3-second time penalty. These are coming in tons in this race. And Sweet Crown comes out of the pits in 3rd place in open air. So if he puts in a couple of good laps between right now and Jer pitting, he might have a pretty good chance here, as he uses overtake there for a couple of seconds again. As you can see him, you can see how quickly it really runs out, as Locke gets another 3-second time penalty. I'm gonna try and check in on the penalties in a couple more laps here and see really how many people have, because there's been quite a few of them, as Jer now goes into the pits. Let's see what the gap is down to Sweet Crown. It's only about 17 seconds. I think Sweet Crown is going to overtake Jer while he's going to be in the pits here. Let's go on board with Sweet Crown. Let's see where he is. He's coming around the last corner right now, as Jer has just come out of his pit box now. This is going to be very close, as Sweet Crown puts in a 3rd purple sector on this lap, and Jer's coming out right now, and he just comes out right behind Sweet Crown. So the undercut has definitely worked on this one. Jer is almost 2 seconds behind. What a brilliant move from Sweet Crown. Absolutely brilliant timing for his pit stop, and you can see why this guy is a champion in this particular league. Absolutely brilliant, and yeah, just amazing work. Great timing. Jer is going to have to really fight back on that now. He is going to have 1 lap earlier or 1 lap younger tires on his car, but it's not going to be easy, as he's also got Gernman on the back of him, only less than a second behind. So he's going to have the DRS. He's using his overtake right now. It's actually run down to only 5% ERS, so that is not going to help him out. But I think what he's trying to do is he's trying to make sure he is going to be within that DRS zone in the next lap, and so he is right now, as he opens it up, and he's going to try and close in on Jer. I really like the fact that we've got this new interval graphic in our standings, because it's getting updated much quicker than it used to be on 2019. 2019, so I can really follow with all of these drivers and see how they're doing and how quickly they're closing in on people, as Gernman has closed down that gap from about 0.8 of a second down to only about 0.4 of a second. So he's definitely done a great job using the DRS, but he's gonna have to save up the overtake and the ERS, as he's actually just wasting it more and more right now on this straight here. So Gernman's gonna have to be a little bit smarter with his management of his battery if he wants to really overtake Jer later on in this race. Gonna have to put on the brakes for a couple of laps and really be smart with that, and he might have a chance later on. We're watching as ISRL Mushroom is trying to close in on Lewis. Behind them, he's got Knight and Carter, who've really been battling for position all race long, and they still are right now. Carter is closing in on Knight. He's only 0.3 of a second behind. And behind them, Isaac Kush in 9th place is also closing in very, very quickly. Oh, and it looks like Gernman has overtaken Jer, and Jer's trying to fight back right now after turn 2 as they're heading downhill into turn 3. Let's see how this is going to work out. Is Gernman going to go down the inside? He's not. He's going to think about it. He's going to wait for a little bit, as Jer now is back into the 2nd position. But all of this battling between Gernman and Jer has allowed Sweet Crown to get really ahead of the competition here. He's currently 2 seconds ahead of everyone, as Gernman gets another 3-second time penalty. That is not going to help out in this battle for position here. Infamous is 3.6 seconds behind them. He was much closer at the starting of this race, but it looks like the guys at the front have really picked up their own pace since then, and they're really pushing it now, as Gernman now gets DRS on the start-finish straight, catching up to Jer very, very quickly here. We're gonna watch this battle as we've only got 2 more laps to go. We're on lap 16 of 18, and this race has come and gone by very, very quickly as we're running up the hill into turn 2. Gernman thinks about it, but then hits the brakes a little bit earlier than Jer does, and that's not going to be enough on that occasion. Then he gets a little bit wobbly on the exit as well, so Jer is now going to be pulling up ahead of him. Only a couple of laps to go, and it's going to be very interesting to see how this turns out. Now we've got a little bit more action back in the midfield again. Knight has just been overtaken by Isaac Kush, and now he's under a lot of pressure from Carter, who's going to dive down the inside into turn 3. They're side by side as they go through the corner, and it looks like Carter is going to pull just ahead. They're very, very close together, and Knight is going to have to stick to the back wing of that Racing Point, and he's going to have to really try and catch up to him and keep within this DRS. He's only got about 20% of overtake left, so that's not going to be good for him either. It's not really going to help him out. Isaac Kush is now also catching up to Mushroom very, very quickly with only a lap to go. Now we're on lap 17 of 18, so technically 2 more laps to go, as our leaders are now going on to lap 17 of 18, and yeah, this has gone very, very quickly through this race. Oh, that's a big cut there, and ISRL Mushroom goes wide, and now Isaac Kush is going to have a really good run up the hill into turn 2, and he does a really good job of overtaking through there, and Mushroom drops down to 7th position. He's going to have to fight back now. And now Carter is closing in very quickly. This has been a very interesting train of cars here. It's been going on for a very long time, all the way from Knight, Carter, Mushroom, Isaac Kush, all the way up to Lewis as well. Now Lewis has been able to really pull out thanks to this little bit of train battling here. Carter is closing in, only a little bit over a lap to go in this race, so you don't really have too many opportunities if you want to rise up through the standings. But as we've also seen, there's going to be quite a few people with penalties, so that's going to possibly decide some of our final standings for us, and we're gonna have to wait and see, as now the leaders have started the last lap of this race. And we've got another comment coming in from Chilmo. Let's go Team McLaren. Absolutely, let's see what McLaren can do here. ISRL Knight is currently in 9th position, so he needs to close up a couple of positions. ISRL Estunik is down in 13th and not having a good time, as Jordan is actually putting some pressure on him. But let's go back out to the front here, as Jer and Gerdman are still battling for the second step on the podium. We're not exactly sure on penalties what exactly is going to happen once they get through it all, but at the moment Gernman is 0.5 of a second behind, so he's really not closing in any time. And Sweet Crown, it looks like right now, is gonna be our winner here today. And it looks like it was all down to strategy here in Austria today in round 1 of Season 3 of Formula Fridays. Sweet Crown 19 is going to be your winner here today. And the undercut really worked well for him. Jerry is going to finish second. Gurman finishes third. Let's see if he's going to keep that position. No, he doesn't. Infamous Pillars takes the last step of the podium. He takes third position thanks to penalties. ISRL Lewis in fifth. No, he was fifth, but he drops down to sixth now. Carter finishes seventh. Knight finishes eighth. Mushroom, ninth. Oh, there we go. He drops down to 10th. And Sofian, it looks like, is going to take 2 points in today's race. Chris rises up to 10th place as Mushroom loses out on more positions. He must have had quite a few penalties. Wow, what a race this was today, guys. Absolutely amazing. It was a really good way for me to get back into commentating. Very quick-paced, very exciting battling on track from a lot of our drivers. And Sweet Crown is going to be the winner of this first round. Absolutely brilliant job from Sweet Crown here today in Austria to figure out that the undercut will be quicker. ISRL Lewis claims driver of the day as well. Congratulations to him. This is a great new way of crediting drivers for their great performances in the F1 2020. I absolutely love it. Ooh, Sweet Crown taking a selfie on the podium. I'm really liking this. Alright, so in race 1, it's Sweet Crown that takes first position, Jer in second, and by virtue of penalties, it was a completely different finisher on third place. We were expecting to see Gernman up there, but Gernman dropped down all the way down to 5th place as Infamous Pillar gets 3rd place in the first race here at Austria. Isaac Kush gets 4th. Gernman 5th, Lewis 6th, ISRL Carter 7th, Knight 8th, Sofian 9th, Elias Chris 10th, Feral Fury 11th, Mushroom 12th, Josh 13th, Jordan JT 14th, Astunik 15th, Joseph 16th, Killing for Cash 17th, Lewis 18th, and Luck 14 Nog in 19th. Some people had some big numbers of penalties here. I saw some people with 5 penalties. Let's see who else had more than that. 6 penalties, 18 seconds for Mushroom, so that's why he dropped so many positions at the end. Sweet Crown with no penalties at all. Infamous Pillars with 6 seconds of penalties. So, yeah, even with those penalties, he managed to take 3rd position and our last step on the podium in race 1. Absolutely brilliant race to watch there and commentate on. And everybody who's watching the stream, thank you guys so much for tuning in so far and for watching. Please keep your comments coming in. Let me know if you guys have any sort of questions or if there's anything you guys want me to see, any drivers you want me to pay more attention to while they're racing on track. That would be very well accepted as well. Just let me know what you guys want to see, and thank you guys so much. Keep your comments coming in. We're gonna get ready here in a few minutes to get going for race 2 of Formula Fridays round 1. Thank you so much, Chilmo. I really appreciate the positive feedback. Let me know if you guys want me to do anything differently as well. If you guys want me to change camera angles or keep more on board with anyone, let me know. Keep the feedback coming in. But thank you so much, Chilmo. I really appreciate it. What do I least like about the new game? That's a great question coming in from ISRL Vito. I think it's kind of hard, but it's definitely glitchy. There's been a lot of glitch moments, and I do realize that this is the first release of this game. It's pretty much the first version. We've only had one update, and it wasn't really a major one. So, you know, it's early days. I'm not gonna really knock this game too much, but compared to last game, I've experienced, especially in multiplayer and online, definitely some major glitching. You know, so we'll have to wait and see, as I said, but that's pretty much been my only complaint with it so far. Other than that, I think maybe the damage model is really sensitive on this one compared to the last game. It takes a little bit of a while to get used to, and I think the brakes, they're really awesome, but they're really touchy. But also, you guys let us know in the comments if you guys don't like something about this new game, or what do you least like, or what do you really like about this new game. Pretty much let us know what you think. Yes, Eisen, I would completely agree with you. Thank you so much for that comment. Eisen says that he feels like there's a lot more understeer this year. Absolutely. I feel like there's a lot more grip, a lot more downforce grip, which then also translates to a lot more grip in the front wheels, which don't really want to go into where you want them to go. So absolutely, yeah, there's a lot more understeer on this game. However, I did also talk to a lot of people about that, and they really like it. Some players really appreciate that because they say that, you know, the older cars were a little bit too oversteery and were a little bit too bitey on the front. So we'll have to wait and see again if they're gonna change their handling model at all. Also, I'm really interested to see how they're gonna update the performances based on the last few Grand Prix that we had in real life. I mean, we've had some really mixed performances from teams that we would usually expect to be very consistent. So we'll have to wait and see for the next update. Yes, and Mushroom says track limits being realistic would be nice. Absolutely. I think as we were, you know, seeing in real life in Austria, the drivers were instructed that as long as you keep within the red and white curbs on any part of your car, then you're not really going outside of the track. And then we go to Austria on the game, and you can't even take two wheels into the sort of, you know, onto the curve. So yeah, it's a little bit too strict, but also, I mean, it's really gonna train people. It's gonna make sure that you really stay on the black stuff in this game, which could be appreciated in league racing. I'm sure some people really appreciate that. I feel like maybe on F1 2019, some drivers were taking advantage of track limits in certain situations, and yeah, it's a good way to eliminate that sort of unfair advantage as well. But thank you so much, guys, for all the comments coming in. Keep it coming. We're getting ready here to get going again for the second race here in Austria for round 1 of Formula Fridays of Season 3 of ISRL Esports. It's really exciting to be back here for another season. I had the pleasure of racing in all 3 seasons so far and commentating on 2 of them. So absolutely exciting and just incredible to see what the guys from ISRL have been able to do with this league lately and the way it's developing. Keep it going, guys. I'm hugely grateful to everything you do. I'm sure the rest of the drivers are as well. And yeah, just absolutely excited to keep going here again. It looks like some of our drivers are getting ready. I'm gonna have a short break and I'll get ready to go here in a second as well. Alrighty, there we go. Everybody has readied up for this race, I'm pretty sure we don't have qualifying anymore. I'm not sure if we're starting with reverse grids, or somebody help me out in the comments if you know what sort of a grid are we starting on. I'm sure it's gonna be a good one. Last time I checked in the loading window, it was saying realistic starting grid, so that would be very interesting as well. Reverse grid. Yeah, everybody's saying that it's reverse grid. Thank you so much, Mushroom, Cat, and Chris Racing. Very helpful. So yeah, I guess it's gonna be a reverse grid, so that's gonna shake things up, and it's definitely gonna add some spice. It might create some battling situations between drivers that we wouldn't normally see battling, so let's get to it. Oh yes, it's another wet one. So we had wet qualifying for race 1, and now we have a wet race for race 2. And that's going to be absolutely amazing to watch and commentate on. Since I don't have a co-commentator today, I do apologize ahead of time if I miss out on some incidents or major events that happen within the race. I can't really keep my eye on everything. I'm just going to try and keep my eye on whatever's going to be happening at the moment. And we'll try to catch all the incidents if there are any. We'll try to stay on board with as many drivers as we can to watch the battles, as we are going to get ready to go here in just a second now. Alright, there we go. We're lining up on the grid. We've got 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. And we go racing here for round 1 and race number 2 in Austria for Formula Fridays ISRL Season 3. We've got some battling at the back. We've got a big crash there. It looks like we've had a couple of people involved, and now we've got more battling. A lot of people going wide. Oh, and another crash. It's an AlphaTauri. There's an AlphaTauri, there's a sweet crown that spun around. He's got damage. At the back, we've got LAS Chris with a bunch of damage. Lewis with damage as well. Oh my goodness, there was a lot of people involved there. Let's get back to it here as we're watching Gernman battling with infamous pillars very, very closely. We've got I think it was a Haas going really wide there at the exit of turn 2, as well as infamous pillars is still battling together with Gernman as they're coming into turn 3. We've also got battles ahead of them between Carter, Sweet Crown, Jordan JT, and a couple of other people as well. And also, I do apologize, it wasn't Sweet Crown that got involved in that incident at the front. It was ISRL Lewis. I've just got mixed up between the two Mercedeses. But at the front, we've got Josh 2 and ISRL Knight. Oh, and now Knight takes the lead from Josh as well. This is turning out to be very exciting right off the bat here. It's extremely tricky conditions on track. Full wets on all of the cars as well. So, wow, absolutely exciting stuff, and it looks like some people really gained some good positions off the start here. It looks like ISRL Knight rose up from 12th all the way up to first, and Josh gained 5 positions. Isaac Kush gained 13 positions, so that suggests to me that that major incident was somewhere at the front, or at least some people from the front of the grid got tied up in that stuff, like Astunik, Joseph Cozy, Luck 14, Lewis, and Chris definitely got caught up in that incident, and they're now towards the back of the grid here. We are watching as Sofian is trying to overtake Lewis, who's got a really bad run out of the exit of turn 2. And now we've got Sofian up into 6th position, trying to catch up down to killing. Oh my God! Feral Fury takes out. Feral Fury. Sorry, he takes out. I think it was Gernman. Oh my goodness, that was a big incident there. He just came out of nowhere, missed his braking point, and completely took out that car. Now watching as ISRL Cutter is really catching up to Lewis as well, and they're fighting for 6th position on the grid. But Sofian moves himself up into 5th. And so far, we've had 2 people who have had to stop as well. We've had Lewis and Chris who had to stop for damage, and currently everybody's got the wet tire fitted on. These conditions are definitely only good for the wet. Oh, Lewis really loses the back of the car there as he cuts the corner and gets a 3-second time penalty. Josh sets the fastest lap with a 1:15.7. ISRL Knight is trying to battle as there goes Lewis wide again through turn 1, and ISRL Car moves himself up into 6th place. It looks like somebody went wide there. It looks like Lewis went really, really wide, touched the wall. He's got damage. He spun himself around as well. He's all the way down to 13th, 14th place now. So not a very good exit out of turn 2 for him there, unfortunately, turn 1, sorry. And now Sweet Crown is under pressure from Gernman, who's very, very close to him. Jer is moving up past him on the inside, and now is he going to go for a move? No, he's not, but he's sort of closing the door on Gernman, so he has to take a little bit to the outside of that corner to try and stay. We've got some battling up in front between Infamous Pillars and Carter. Wow, there's been so much going on track. I'm just trying to stay with anything I can here and follow up with all of the battling, but it's just been crazy. And there we go. Carter, he's at a moment. He spun out, coming out of the exit of turn 6, and he's dropping positions now all the way down to 11th, so very unfortunate for him. Jer is battling with Sweet Crown right now. They're really side by side coming through the last corner, but Jer manages to get up into 7th place, but Sweet Crown is not going to let this one go. He's very, very close. He's using his overtake. He's coming down the inside into turn 1. He's not going to be close enough, but I'm sure he's going to put on the attack up the hill into turn 2 as well. Wow, what a start to this race. The weather has definitely added a major factor to everybody, and also the reverse grid has shaken things up majorly in this second race here today for round 1 of ISRL Esports Season 3. And just a reminder, this is Formula Fridays. This is one of our most exciting tiers as I am seeing so far. I'm definitely going to be excited to watch this one and possibly commentate on it in the future. A very exciting format as well. I really like the 2-race format with the one-shot qualifying in the reverse grid. I think it works very well. Gernman is pretty much our closest battle on track right now, as he's staying within 0.6 of a second behind Sweet Crown, but it looks like people are starting to settle into their sort of rhythms. Sweet Crown loses the car, but then Gernman loses the car even worse, and he's spinning out into the gravel at the exit of turn 6 there again. So we have some drivers having issues with the exit of that corner, and now Gernman is all the way down to 12th place. This is going to be very unfortunate for him. Let's get on board with Sofian here, who is trying to catch up to ISRL Mushroom. He's only 0.5 of a second behind now as they're running up the hill into turn 2. ISRL Mushroom is getting his car a little bit twitchy as they're coming up the hill. It looks like Sofian is definitely braking a little bit later than Mushroom, and that allows him to close up that gap very, very quickly. Oh, the traction on the exit of that corner is not letting tires bite in as he goes for the move down the inside into turn 3. And he manages to make it stick, as now Mushroom is going to have to battle him off and try to come back and grab that position back, losing the car there a little bit. I think he's driving on the controller, and we know that the controller in these conditions can be very, very tricky. You can see by the inputs of its steering that it's a little bit twitchy. Oh, it looks like Lewis has had another moment. He's decided to switch over to the intermediate tires, and I think it's going to be interesting to see what sort of times he's going to be putting in over the next couple of laps, because maybe the guys in the front of the grid might be thinking about doing the same thing if this rain eases up a little bit. But Mushroom now is losing time, and now Infamous is on his tail, putting pressure on him, and so is Jer behind him. They're only a couple of tenths behind each other. Killing for Cash has gone to the pits as Infamous loses the back of the car at the exit of turn 2, and that is not going to help him out here. Or turn 1, I do apologize. So, oh no, sorry, turn 2, yeah. And now Sweet Crown overtakes him down the inside as well. That was a very nice move there. I love how the sound of the engines between the Alfa and the Ferrari are so close together, as Sofian goes into the pits as well. Carter goes into the pits as well. So a lot of people are going to be moving up positions now. Now I'm interested to see what sort of tires they're going to go on. Sofian is going on the intermediate as well. So far, Lewis and Sofian are the only two that have decided to jump onto the intermediate tire. Carter onto the intermediate as well. Let's see if Astunik is going to take the intermediate. No, it looks like Astunik is going to keep a wet tire on, but we've got a lot of people that are now deciding to take on the intermediate tire instead of the wet. So we're going to have to wait and see for a couple more corners or a couple more laps to see what sort of times they're going to be putting in. As Sweet Crown is literally touching the back of Mushroom, pushing him through turn 3. And yeah, that slowed him down a little bit on the exit there, so he's going to have to close in on that gap as well. Again, as Mushroom goes wide through that next corner, and now they're coming in through the left-hander. It looks like Mushroom is not getting as much grip and as much speed and as much traction as he would like through the corners, and definitely not as much as Sweet Crown is getting through those corners. Then this guy, I mean, he won the first race, and now he's already in 6th place in the second race, as Mushroom gets a 3-second time penalty, which now pretty much promotes Sweet Crown to 5th. This guy is absolutely incredible. Using his overtake now as they're coming up the hill into turn 2. Let's see if this is going to be enough. Down the inside it goes, Sweet Crown, and he's going to hit the brakes. He's going to lock up a little bit, but he does make it stick, and it looks like Mushroom taps the rear of him there, almost loses his own back, and now Infamous is putting pressure on him as they touch a tiny little bit there, as Mushroom was trying to close the door on him, but Infamous manages to keep that and dives down the inside of him into turn 3. Let's see how this is going to turn out. Mushroom has just lost a couple of positions. I'm sure he's not happy with that, and he's going to try and fight back. He's touching the grass on the entry there into turn 4. A little bit risky. You got to be really careful not to touch the curb or the grass, especially in these conditions. You can get thrown out really, really quickly, and you'll go from top to bottom, and you'll lose a lot of positions, as we've seen some drivers do here today, unfortunately. Losing a little bit of time there, it looks like, Mushroom. So yeah, gonna have to try and close that up, as Infamous is now pulling away from him by almost a second, and it looks like the rest of our field has really sort of stretched out. It looks like Gernman is now coming to overtake Luck after he had his bad moment there and a little bit of a spin. He's going to go down the inside. He has no more ERS. He's wasted all of it on that particular lap, and now he's got a little bit of ERS left. He's still using his overtake. Really wasting quite a bit of it right now. So, yeah, he's not going to have any again for the next lap, unfortunately. But he does get the position, and he's up into 13th place on those intermediate tires. So I haven't really seen people putting in any incredibly fast laps on those intermediate tires. So if anything, I would say they're probably on the same sort of par right now in terms of lap times as the wets are. They might just be a little bit trickier to really hold on to, as we saw from Carter and from Gernman there trying to overtake. It was not too easy. Oh, at the front, we've got some pitting. We've got ISRL Knight and Mushroom both pitting. Let's see what sort of tires they're going to go on. It looks like intermediate tires goes for Knight, and Mushroom decides to do the same thing as well, as change his front wing. So yeah, there we go. Quite a few more takers on that intermediate tire. So I'm sure, oh, there we go. In the first fastest lap on the intermediate tire, it was, I couldn't see who it was. I think it was Knight. But then Lewis actually takes that away on the wet tire, on a brand new or an old wet. So I'm not really sure where tire stands right now, which one is the quickest one out of the lot. So we'll just have to keep on paying attention to the lap times, and we'll have to wait and see to figure out which one is going to be quicker here. Now, watching on board with Carter, and this is a battle between the intermediate and the wet tire. Carter has the new intermediate, as the student had the old wet, and it looks like, oh, Astunik is still coming back at him. They're still battling, but no, it looks like Carter is going to take that position away, and he moves himself up into 9th place. And more people pitting at the front. Sweet Crown Infamous and Isaac Kush all deciding to take their pit stops right now. It looks like Sweet Crown served a penalty, or I'm not sure exactly what happened there. He was stopped in the pit box for a very long time. But he's coming out now, and let's see where this is going to put him. Looks like he's going to be in 9th or 10th, somewhere thereabouts, as Astunik is now going to be very close to him. But yeah, Sweet Crown's going to be in 9th place. And now we've got a massive battle here between Jordan Sofian and Isaac Kush. It looks like Jordan had a moment there coming up into that corner, and now Sofian and Isaac Kush are really battling into turn 4. And it looks like Isaac Kush is going to keep that position for now, as both of them are on intermediate tires, but Isaac Kush has just pitted for them on the last lap, as Sofian pitted for his tires about 3 laps ago. And now this is also allowing ISRL Knight to really start closing in to Jordan JT, as he's trying to go for the move here. Is this going to make it work? I think he's going to make it stick. This is going to be very, very close into the penultimate corner as they go, and there goes Knight into 5th position now. Very nice move from him. And it looks like, I think by now, yeah, it's really becoming clear that the intermediate tire is definitely becoming quicker and quicker with time. So the rain must be easing off, or at least there must be a clean line, a dry line forming on the wet track. Josh is still out in the front on that on the wet tire that he started back on the race. So he's still out there, and he's got a 22, almost a 23 second gap. He's doing very, very well, and I mean, as it stands right now, he'll probably only lose a single position when he comes out of the pits. We've got a yellow flag at Sector 3. It looks like Joseph has had a little bit of a moment, and he's going to have to close out that gap as he goes into the pits as well. Carter very quickly catching up to Sweet Crown, and this is going to be very interesting to see how those two are going to be battling. Oh, LAS Chris has now retired from the race. I think he's had a moment. That wasn't Joseph. Yeah, I do apologize again. That was actually LAS Chris that had a moment there coming into the pits, and he has decided to retire out of this track, as we are now on lap 13 out of 18. Isaac Kush just put in the fastest lap, 113.490 on that intermediate tire. So we definitely know now that the intermediate tire is becoming quicker and quicker. As I'm watching, there's a yellow flag there and a battle between Astunik and Luck, and it looks like Astunik is going very, very slowly. I'm not sure if he's got some damage now as a result of that battle, but there was definitely a yellow flag there. Let's see here now. Luck is getting overtaken by ISRL Lewis as well, so that moves him up another position, and into 12th goes Lewis. So far, this has been one hell of a race. It's been very, very close between some people, as the student gets another 3-second time penalty. Who is that spinning out? That is Luck. He is spun out, has hit the wall. He's reset himself back on the track, but he's got massive damage, and he's spinning out again because the tires must be overheated now. Oh no, this is not going to be good for him. So he's going to drop down to 16th place now. And I feel like this battle has been going on for a very long time here. Gernman and Mushroom are getting closer and closer together. We only have 4 more laps to go. Infamous Pillars puts in a 112.7, so about 2 seconds faster than Isaac Kush's fastest lap. So definitely getting drier and drier. Those intermediate tires are getting quicker as round the outside goes Gernman. What a very nice overtake. Mushroom losing the car on the exit of the corner. Hold it together. He's managing to hold it together. Oh my god, that was very twitchy there. Let's go on board with Jer here, as he's now catching up very quickly to ISRL Knight. ISRL Lewis puts in a 112.5. So there we go, another fastest lap. Josh still has not pitted from the lead of this race. He's currently 17.5 seconds ahead. He was 22 seconds ahead of Isaac Kush just a few laps ago. He's gonna have to take that pit stop as soon as possible. He's losing time, hand over fist here. He's gonna have to make that decision sooner than later, because he's just fighting a losing battle right now, and yeah, I think he might have just lost himself the win in this race, unfortunately. If he would have pitted just a few laps ago, he definitely would have had a much better chance at this at keeping this lead, but I am not so sure what's going to happen now. Let's go back to Jer here. He's only 3/10 behind ISRL Knight. And yeah, you can definitely see from the weather on track that it's getting a little bit lighter now. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 2. It looks like, oh my god, that was somebody just stopped on the track. And now Jer is so close. He's gonna go down the inside, downhill, into turn 3. Let's see if that's gonna work for him. It definitely does. And he moves himself up into 4th place. ISRL Knight in 5th now, with 3 laps to go. Let's see if he's gonna take that position back from Jer. We have had battles so far up and down the grid between pretty much all of the drivers. Also obviously aided by the fact that we had a reverse grid that really helped out mixing things up and spicing things up for our drivers here today. Battling with some people that you wouldn't expect at possibly the start of the race, and then having to make your way through the rest of the grid with strategy, as we saw in race 1, definitely helps out. And right now, Josh is fighting his own strategy. I feel like, at least from my own opinion. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, but unfortunately I feel like because he hasn't pitted yet, he's really lost himself this win. He's now down to only 13 seconds gap, and I mean a stop here is about 20 seconds. So he's gonna lose down to about 4th or 5th. I mean, Knight and Jer might have a chance of rising up to 3rd or 4th if Josh is going to go into the pits right now, as Lewis sets another fastest lap, 1:12.3, another 0.2 of a second quicker than he did before. When is Josh gonna bite the bullet? Well, not on this particular lap, I can tell you that much, because he is still going. He has been on those tires for 16 laps. I mean, he might not pit at all, so that might be a possibility as well. Let's wait. Yeah, I think you're right, Vito. I think because it is raining, he doesn't absolutely have to stop. It's not a mandatory stop anymore, so Josh could still take the win here today. I really just hope that the game doesn't glitch out and doesn't give him a disqualification after that. Would absolutely suck. As now Joseph, unfortunately, has had a moment, it looks like, at the exit of turn 2, or right at the entry of turn 2. Or no, yeah, at the exit of turn 2, right at the entry of turn 3, and he's back going again now. Yeah, Josh is being caught very, very quickly, but as far as we think, he's gonna be pretty good here because it is raining, so it doesn't force you to take a pit stop, so you can stay on those wet tires for the entirety of the race, which it looks like he is going to do. Everybody else down the... Oh my god, Mushroom has just went on to the soft tire. I'm sure that's not gonna work out for him just yet. Yeah, I'm not sure what Mushroom was thinking there, but he went on to the dry, soft tire, and he is having a hell of a time just trying to stay on track here. We're now on to lap 18. Josh has started in the pole position, and he didn't start on pole position. Let me pull up the position change. He started 7th and made his way up into 1st place pretty much right at the start of the race. Since then, he's been out front, and he is still out front, but he has lost a massive amount of time because he's decided to stay out on those wet tires. He was 22 seconds ahead on lap 12, and now he's only 7.3 seconds ahead. We still got massive battling at the back here. We've got ISRL Knight, Infamous Pillars, and Sweet Crown all battling for position. It looks like Infamous Pillars is going to go round the outside, but Knight is going to keep down to the inside as they go around into turn 3, and for now ISRL Knight keeps the position, but Pillars is not letting it go. He's still trying to catch up to him as much as possible, as Josh is now rounding up the last corner on this track. He's gonna come around, he's gonna win race 2 here in Austria for round 1 of Formula Fridays in season 3 of ISRL Esports. Isaac Kush finishes 2nd on the podium. Very good performance from him. Sophie in 3rd, Jer 4th, In this one, it doesn't look like too many people had too many penalties. Now Sweet Crown 5th, Infamous 6th, ISRL Knight finishes 7th, Carter is going to finish 8th, Gernman, it looks like rounding up the last corner right now, is going to come home in 9th place. And our last points finisher here in the second race of first round of ISRL Esports Season 3 Formula Fridays is going to be Jordan JT. And then we've also got Lewis in 11th, Feral Fury in 12th, Astunik in 13th, Lewis in 14th, ISRL Mushroom in 15th, Luck 14 and 16th, Killing for Cash in 17th, and Joseph rounding up the back of the grid here. Wow, what a performance from Josh, managing to keep that gap in front. Williams 1-2 as well. Great performance for the team. Absolutely amazing front row lockout here for those two drivers. And you can see the position changes on the grid as well. They definitely had to work their way through this race. Josh starting 7th. Isaac Kush started 16th. Sophian started 11th. Jer started in 18th place, Sweet Crown in 19th, and currently finished 5th. So definitely a very good points grab for Sweet Crown as well. I'm sure he's going to be happy, but Josh is the hero of the day in race 2 of round 1, and Sweet Crown definitely deserves that driver of the day, rising up through the grid, getting about 14 or 15 positions. Absolutely impressive. Williams are definitely your biggest winners here today, taking first and second position. Absolutely amazing from them. Josh managing to keep those single sets of wet tires going all the way down to the finish of the race. Very impressive tire management from him. I'm sure he's going to be happy with this massive point haul as well. Alright, so just to round up everybody again, so we've got Josh in first, Isaac Kush in second, Sophian in third, Jer in fourth, Sweet Crown in fifth, Infamous Pillars in sixth, Knight 7th, Carter 8th, Gernman 9th, Jordan JT 10th, ISRL Lewis 11th, Feral Fury 12th, ISRL Astunik 13th, Lewis Colo 14th, ISRL Mushroom 15th, Luck 14 16th, and Killing for Cash in 17th, Joseph in 18th, and LAS Chris was our only DNF for this second race of round 1. But what of a race it was. Both of the races were absolutely exciting from start to finish. There was not a second where I could breathe and look away, because there was battling, there was incidents, there was overtakes all over the place. Huge thank you to everyone who joined the stream here tonight. I really appreciate all the comments that you guys have been sending in. Keep it coming. Leave a like, or share the video, and subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed to it yet by any chance. But yeah, this is it for tonight here for round 1. We're gonna be back on Sunday for more ISRL Esports Season 3 racing. Sundays are going to be very exciting. We have moved our schedule 1 hour earlier now, so all of the races tier 3, tier 2, and tier 1, they're all going to be earlier by an hour to help out all of our drivers and all of our viewers from around the world. So thanks again for everybody who joined. I want to send out a huge thank you to all the drivers for amazing driving here today. Also, a huge thank you to all the viewers, everybody who tuned in. Huge thank you to the league officials and everybody who is working in the background to make this league happen every single week, and all of the different races and all the different classes. Thank you guys so much again. This has been BLIN-MACHINE with you for the commentary. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will hopefully see you guys very, very soon. Have a great night.